All right, welcome to the Aubrey Municipal Development District Board meeting on June 11th, 2024 at the Aubrey NDD building. We'll now call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. And we will take roll to determine if the quorum is present. Please say here when I read your name. Holly Drew, here. Aaron Bogar. She said she would be a little bit late. Mike Browning.
Here.
Vicki Dunn. Here. Cindy Hour.
Here.
Mark Arbogast.
Here.
Tim Heitman.
Here.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. We will now stand for the pledge of allegiance and pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Say a brief prayer. Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for the blessings that we have and for just our health and safety of traveling here. I pray that you would grant us wisdom, guidance, and a cooperative spirit among us, our team here this evening, to make wise decisions both for this particular board and the city in general. In Jesus' name, amen.
Very much. All right, moving on to committee announcements. Are there any upcoming events? We have the music series coming up at Veterans Park on June 15th at 5:30 to 9, featuring Texas Harmony, Peyton Howie, and Clay Hollis. Anybody have anything else?
I do like having it spelled out there like it is on the agenda this month. The same us like, oh, who is it?
Yeah, I know for sure. Yes. All right. Moving on, citizen input. Is there anyone here or on Zoom who has citizen input and would like to speak? Let's see anybody. Okay, consent agenda, consent items. At this point, I will open the consent agenda. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
I'd like to pull items 1, 2, and 3, please.
Okay. So, all those in favor?
I think that's a motion.
Is it, if they're all gone, taken out, do you have to?
Right, so you'll have to go through each item individually now.
That's what's been needed. So going on minutes of May 16, 2024, what's that?
I've got 2 light edits. Hang on, I popped them in my phone. On item number 3, it just says edited budget. It doesn't have the dollar amount. And Vicki's motion verbally included a dollar amount of a total of $105,000 for compensation.
Okay, so these kind of things, it'd be great if you can email them ahead of time so that we're not going through it. That'd be wonderful. If you don't mind, so that we can get them and then we can still approve them.
I hear you. We're still gonna approve it, right?
Right, I just could make the change
And then we have it
beforehand
first.
and we could announce that it was revised, that I received revisions and that the items on consent had revisions.
Okay, and then what's the second one?
Under the executive session, the first set of motions, I seconded the motion, not Mark. So close the open session into the executive session. And I double checked it because I was like, gosh, I wrote notes wrong. So I went back and listened to it. And
So it's-
Yeah, okay. Mike and I had notes and I had to watch some of that Zoom too. So it could have been the names.
there were a couple of times where it did multiple, but
So,
they said seconded by Jesse.
so budget
So-
105,
That's it. It's easy stuff.
and Jesse made the motion to,
Leave executive session?
Seconded.
okay.
So if that helps.
When we get,
Got that.
just so tonight, thank you, that'll help a lot. When we do, the microphone, as we all know, is not as easy to pick up your voices. So if you do make a motion, if you could just point your face toward the camera and the mic, that might help a little bit. Cause sometimes when I'm watching it, I get a little faded, so especially at that end of the table.
Yeah, I went back and listened to it.
That's
twice
the
just to
only
make
thing I
sure.
would ask.
All right, those are
And
the
then-
items I have on those.
Okay, anybody else have anything? Good, okay. Number 2, approved monthly financial.
Do we now have to act on each individual
Yes.
one?
You'll need a motion on the minutes.
So if you'll let me, I'd like to make a motion to approve, the minutes with those 2 edits.
I'll second. Yes. I have a motion by Jesse, a second by Vicky. All those in favor? Motion passes 6-0. So that was consent number 1. So moving on to consent number 2, which is approval of the monthly financial report.
And just 2 questions. I don't see any actual errors. We had a $200 charge for photography. What was that one for?
For the website and for some of the pictures on what is it, the pamphlet that we submitted? The pictures, what is
Yeah.
that called? The monthly lifestyle.
That was probably what came in. I got a couple of invoices late when we had the photos come in. The photos done. I had a couple of invoices come in late and we needed checks. So that was back from like work done in December, January
And it's
last fall, but they
Oh,
just
so-
got their invoices to me. It's late.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to think what this had to do.
Yeah, no, I
And
haven't done
then-
that. Lately, we've been fortunate to have our board member help out with photos.
Pro bono.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Pro bono for sure.
We appreciate
But
that.
I did have photographers submit an invoice late.
And then there was an Uber charge for training.
That was when we went to the ICSC and Mike had an Uber. We
That's
drove
fine.
to the reception. Thank you. No,
That's good. We encourage that.
yeah, but there was no walking from this person from Highland Park. There was no.
Yeah, it's just 2 questions.
Yeah.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the monthly financial report.
Second.
I have a motion by Jesse, a second by Mike. All those in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Thank you. All right, moving on to number 3, the facade grant update.
So I'm kind of curious why we have a facade grant if we have our TIP program. Because the TIP program covers inside and outside and is significantly more dollars. The facade grant is dead or has been dead since because we originally, so it's going way back. So the only grant program we have is a facade grant. And then we didn't feel like that addressed everything to including some of the internal issues with buildings or internal updates. So we put in the TIP grant. And I believe if you go back up to, you go back a ways, but I think the facade grant was revoked at that point. The facade grant policy was revoked at that point because we've got it covered in TIP.
Under tip.
Because you got interior and exterior. And it's a lot more money.
For the
For the
For the
tip,
tip.
yeah. We had not had, I did not see record of it off of it was still on some websites that it was still in existence. And so if it was revoked in those minutes or the tip grant was approved, I didn't see it in those minutes, but if you all feel that there is no need for a facade grant, the only reason I see that it might be useful is if someone only wanted to fix the front, you've got a limit on just facade repairs and not like up to $30,000 on the front of a whole building.
So I have 2 questions there. And one, I personally, I don't know if we need it. But if we are going to do it, then I noticed a couple other things like in our TIP program, we have for recency, they're only allowed to request every 24 months. I didn't see that in here. If it's in here and I missed it, you'll point out to me. I would think we'd want to have that for,
We can add that back, but
and then the applications are like the box, and this is silly, but is it business or city limits ETJ? On facade, it's like a square checkbox, and on the other application, it's a line. And
Because we have.
I wouldn't imagine they need to be any different.
No, it's just.
I can make one.
So,
Yeah.
like I said, I don't know that we need a facade grant if we've got tip, and it's a lot, tip, a lot more money.
What does the board think? Stick with the tip.
One of the things to be duplicated.
I think it'll be confusing. That's completely understandable. Does that how everyone feels?
And they can't do a tip and a facade grant. I mean,
No, they were-
You would be able to do two grants.
No, if they were doing a tip, they're most likely doing a full project where they've got a lot more property involved than just the front and the
But
facade.
they can do just the exterior. They don't have to do both.
Correct,
On that.
correct.
So it's covered.
So
Yeah.
is it-
And it's not necessarily limited to that amount too. We can always make exceptions, so it doesn't, I get it. Right? Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we cancel the tip, the facade improvement grant policy and allow tip to be the only grant policy for improvements.
Motion and second.
I have a motion by Josie and a second by Vicky. All those in favor? To terminate. To terminate the facade grant.
Motion, give me a second.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Grant. Which then would make this document
Obsolete.
obsolete.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
All those in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Very good. All right. Moving on to new business. We are now moving on to new business. New items previously requested by board members, city staff, or citizens for consideration and or board action by the board. 1, consider and approve a resolution authorizing the formation of a construction and building subcommittee.
So we have had several discussions over the last several months about different projects we'd like to see happen on either our lot here or now that we have a building that could use maybe a new facade. We have some need for having some subcommittee meetings, and just like we did for the mural subcommittee recommendation, we would like to make a recommendation for the construction and building subcommittee. And if you all would like to participate in that, I did hear from 3 people who wanted to participate when I asked about the mural subcommittee last time, and so they spoke up, and there were 3 people that had expressed interest in that. Was
in the mural
in
subcommittee or the,
the building and
okay.
construction, and I realize now that that staff reports in mural, so. Building and construction, 3 people got back to me, and that was Tim, Mark, and Mike.
So. Are we done? with
Yes.
the portion? Okay, at this time, I will entertain a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the formation of a construction and building subcommittee with Mike Browning, Tim Heighton, and Mark Aubrey as members. If you, all I need to have to make a so moved, if you want to make the motion. So, do I have a motion for that?
So. Second.
I have a motion by Tim, a second by Jesse. All those in favor? Motion passes 5-1. Oh, all those opposed, sorry. Assuming it's gonna get me. Motion passes 5-1.
Oh, wait, okay. I didn't catch that.
Resolution, sorry, let me rephrase that. Resolution passes 5-1. I'm going to note that Aaron just walked in at 6:15.
And you had a copy of the resolution in your packet.
That's correct. All right, number 2. Receive update and recommendations from the mural selection subcommittee and consider selecting an artist for mural project and authorizing the executive director to enter into an agreement with the selected artist.
will the mural selection subcommittee please give us an update, gentlemen?
So, we met last night, selected 2 finalists.
Nice.
And the process will be that Steam's gonna reach out, I think, today and email them availability to meet with us for some further input and ask them for a finalized version based on our input. One item we talked about is giving which finalist is not selected, a $400 fee for their final design.
Okay.
The winning bidder, of course, would have their fee because they're gonna
They're
be
gonna win.
painting it.
Yeah,
One item that came up though
that's for their
is,
time. The $400 is for their time. Makes sense.
Yep.
Makes
To
total
do a
sense.
final draft.
Yes.
so, one item that came up is, at least one, I know previously we talked about $10,000.
Oh.
One of the bids is over that.
Okay.
So we wanted to have a discussion, and what we thought was, like, what's a hard line for the board to be like, you know what, not over X amount? Because that'll obviously inform our discussion going forward.
For sure.
Yeah, well, the one thing about both of the finalists is their price per square foot is in line. Both of them, I think, are either half or less than the initial average for mills. So that's good. But one of them is has more detail than the other,
Okay.
and that's some of the delta. One of them is kind of more of a simpler design, but they both look, I think.
And one noted that they had some travel costs, so that was
Yeah.
one difference there.
And
That person
potential.
also noted that they had some contingencies built in and called out those contingencies and said, you know, we're only gonna pay for what these costs really are.
And if they aren't, don't spend it.
Essentially, the way we kind of looked at it is like, that's like their max, like, gosh darn it, I don't want to send you an invoice that's more than this, it'll probably be less, is the way we look.
And if there is a hard number that exceeds, if we pick that person and you guys have a hard number, we can go back to them and say, well, the scope of what you want to do is put on what we can pay, and then we have a plan to go back and say, well, maybe what if you didn't do this element or different, whatever. I mean, so we just thought it would be better for us before we talk to them, if the other members of the board really didn't want to spend more than a certain amount of money, that would be helpful up front, as opposed to saying, oh, you win, if this person would win versus the other, and then,
Yeah.
oh, sorry, we can't pay anywhere near what you.
Didn't we have a set amount for the year?
I think we tried at 10, just because that was like
That was last year.
a roundabout number.
Is there any idea if they're in that ballpark or not, or you think there might be more?
We were kind of asked not to disclose the numbers because it would clue in to at least the artists, you know, before if they chose to listen in or something. So, sorry, we're kind of dancing around that. So that's why I approached it like, what's the number you guys don't want to go over? Because we spent about 15 minutes talking about how to address it.
Even if we go over what kind of our allotted budget was, do we have to like go over the budget for that stuff, or what's the?
No, but there's line items we won't meet the budgeted amount for this year, so as long as our bottom line is not over what we budgeted total for expenses, we're good.
And we'll also have
It's
just one
just
more
gonna
budget
be-
amendment before we're done.
Yeah, if we needed to, we could, but y'all
So
should
it's
be
not gonna be a
okay.
huge
It,
hassle.
it's, our budget should be okay, yeah.
That do.
What? By the way, just subcommittee, we do have one meeting at 1 o'clock on Friday. for the
Oh,
Zoom
good.
meeting.
We did?
Mhm.
Okay, nice.
I emailed them last night, so.
And part of what our meeting is we liked both of the designs, but we thought that there were elements of both designs that could be improved with the feedback that we gave them, whether it was color or content or whatever. So that's why we're gonna have a second meeting with each one to give them a fair chance if they wanna change anything.
I see.
Because they're very close, even though price wise, they're not that, you know, they're not right next to each other. Aesthetically, they're very good for what they're.
And both have murals in the North Texas, North Dallas, North Texas. So
Yeah, you
They're
definitely,
not like-
you definitely see the work of both.
you know,
You've definitely seen the work of both these people.
Okay, I go back to, you guys are selling me a car, I don't know what kind of car, I don't know what it looks like, I don't know how it runs, I don't know what engine's in it, I don't know whether it's gonna get me from point A to point B, and I'm supposed to make a decision based on that. I think that's why I turned down the subcommittee last month.
Yeah.
Well, if there is if the board just wants us to come together with, well, which one we think would be the best fit for the building, we can do that, and then the board can vote after.
You could come back with both updated submissions and they could pick. We could, if we didn't want to do it an open session, it could be done in exec.
And the project, to give you a little bit of like insight of what we are kind of hoping our timeline is now, is, meetings with the 2 selected finalists, one Friday, hopefully the other one Mondays. They were originally planned, we'll see, as far as scheduling, and then ask them to submit their final designs no later than was June 28th.
I asked them to do it by June 28th. I told them that. It'd
And
have to
then the
be
committee
ready.
would meet again the week of July 4th, so that we can have a presentation for the full board with all the information on the July meeting. And we may, that may be what you guys want to do in executive, so you can keep some of those prices confidential for now.
I mean, it would still meet the timeline for
Mhm.
getting it done by July 9th.
And, that was our idea, is we have a decision for the board, like, here's the committee's decision, board, let's vote on it, full board on the 9th. And then one of the things we'll be asking the selected finalists for is their timeline, to see if we can have it done well in advance of the theater festival.
For sure, that's fine.
So is there, and I'm not gonna put a number out there because I feel like it'd be hard for me to pick one and be like, oh, it's that. So is there
Well,
a number of the 3 non-committee members that they would be like, over this, I'm completely
Okay, I'll say
uncomfortable.
30,000, absolutely not.
Yeah, it's just.
I feel like you're gonna be okay.
I mean,
Well, you could just wait until you present them and not make your decision on a budget. You don't need to know, if you're gonna present both at the July 9th
Okay.
meeting, you don't necessarily
do that.
need an
I
amount
mean,
tonight.
that was just my opinion, like, I
the committee.
think that's.
Yeah, fine, that's fine.
Okay.
I was just saying, I wouldn't be opposed to going for a little bit more, but not knowing what it is. 'Cause
Yeah.
some of
Yeah,
the
that's
ones-
fair.
Some of the ones we saw before, there's no way they would come close to even the ceiling, what we had talked about before. so-
Yes.
But we always have to take it into consideration, those were all free drawings,
Oh.
and so that yes. I
Yeah,
understand.
and that's something we talked about a pretty good amount last night,
Yeah.
like we had her pull up the stuff here.
Yeah.
And pointing out different elements we either wanted to change or.
And I know
combine.
y'all have got it under control.
And I personally try not to judge like quality of artwork, because this is their free.
Yes.
Yeah.
The judge for me and the quality of the design is, you're gonna get paid if
Yes.
you're not selected. So,
Understood.
Okay,
So
so we don't. have to
So
take
you
action
don't
on
have
it?
to take.
in my notes, I want to say that the committee is going to present both proposals in a executive session in July.
That's correct.
And they disclosed what they had invoiced on previous projects,
yes.
And
and you can see price per square foot and that all of the previous.
Tim was doing the price per square foot.
yeah, that was. the first-
And
that
I
was the
think that's
first thing I
very,
did.
very fair
Very good.
way
Yeah,
to
and-
approach it.
And like I said, it's almost like comparing a photograph to a painting, in the sense that you would never pay a photographer's print the same amount of money that you would a artist, because there's more labor and materials. And so part of the difference in price is just the amount of design in both of them. And it's not to say that the one design is, just because there's more in it, doesn't mean that we think it's that much better than the simpler one, but that's one of the reasons for the price difference.
Is it a dual phase, like payment structure? Like.
They actually, the industry standard is kind of like contractors, it's half and half, but
Right.
neither of them had that in their proposal.
Yeah, I know at least one proposal I saw said 20% down. I can't remember which one. off the top of my
Okay,
head now.
yeah.
I don't remember if it was either of those. Maybe
Yeah,
that's-
I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah, a lot of times they'll ask for that up front to get the supplies.
Yeah.
And that's,
Material
yeah.
costs.
And we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we can talk about that in the, how to pay them once we decide.
yeah, for sure. Cool. Well,
yeah, I think the
thank y'all for getting
RFPs,
it together
yeah, the
tonight.
RFP said that would all be negotiated once they're selected.
Mhm.
Appreciate it. All right,
I think you'll like either one.
Okay.
awesome. Thank you.
I think so.
Thank you so much for doing that. All right, consider and approve update to the proposed 2024-2025 fiscal year budget.
You all got that in your email last night. As mentioned, there was an annual fee for Swagat to have them produce the meetings and the recordings and do the live stream. I'm gonna show y'all here.
Swagat, I think everybody got the email, but Swagat is to go when the library gets done. If we want to, we can move over into their facility and hold our meeting in the new dais.
Yeah, the new council chambers. So I pulled up Salina here to show you an example of how this software works and what they do, but also just the other item is $2,400 for an administrative fee, which would be to cover some trained city staff for overtime to be on site at the meeting because Swagat is producing it via internet. They would be in Dallas. But this is how this works. So this is how the quality of the meeting looks. So it's good audio. It's very clear.
And the meeting over there, if you haven't seen the inside of the library, it looks better, I think, in my opinion, than that.
And so if you look here, they have their agenda items. You click and you say you want to go to a certain agenda item. You click on it and it fast forwards to that for you. So they'll go through and edit all of that and have it set, and this is what the end user sees online. So
What if there's a presentation even on the screen, Charles, do you know if it would be zoomed in on that presentation during the discussion? So other people can see that presentation?
Yeah, like now, it doesn't.
Right.
No, there you don't see anything.
Go through the timeline there and see if somebody does a presentation.
I can go back to a different meeting.
No.
Well, it's a short meeting. It was a special meeting. I didn't click on a full. Sorry, I picked a bigger meeting.
There's probably.
That's one of the reasons.
Yeah.
Presentation comes up in that screen.
Right here.
No.
Well, it,
On the right
Yeah,
side.
let me see if I can go back.
Pick another meeting. You can see what does.
yeah, you can see right now that on the screen in the back, it's showing their
Yeah,
logo.
This won't be seen in the county. This will only be seen in the community center and at home.
Gotcha.
I think I like the fact of being able to zoom to different topics that are being discussed. If you have to go back.
Whenever
And
you're
you have
having
the
your
secretary,
meetings.
you know, oh, I missed something about this topic. Really manually zoom back. But that's just.
Oh, man, they're orange.
Along the bottom, Christine. On the time. The time.
Which nice,
go to
nice, nice.
timeline. And then just scroll until you see your presentation.
I was gonna click on that.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah, so it does pop it up.
very cool. And so then you can see it.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
And there's somebody there that will
I like clicking.
do all of that. There's the.
Well, they have
Swaggart will have
cameras.
somebody there.
Swaggart is remote, they're in Dallas, and they'll produce the meeting remotely.
It takes a lot of time to do all this.
They do all of this
I would
remotely. They watch the meeting, there'll be 4 cameras in the facility. They zoom in on the person speaking, they change the cameras, they do all of that, and then they timestamp everything, so when the mayor goes on to the next item, it'll be timestamped, and that's how you get to the different items.
So I clicked here on executive session so we can see how they go into executive session, because that's a question Mike had earlier.
It's just a blank screen.
So,
And it stays blank throughout the time.
Oh, look,
Wait,
they
wait,
just
well-
completely eliminated it.
yeah, they took it out, Charles, but
The time's gone. So nobody's
Yeah.
sitting there.
So we don't have to get up and physically move out of the
Go
building.
back to the executive session
Well,
again.
it looked like they were getting up, they're probably going somewhere else.
yeah, they're getting up and going into somewhere else. People stay in the room.
Click on the executive session,
Yeah,
part 2 of 2.
right there.
And there is a similar room at the library that, for executive session.
That was the next question.
Yeah, there is, you get up and go out the back, down a small short hallway and you're into a separate.
Where that kitchen is, or is it?
Close to it, it's right around the corner, yeah. We did our Aubrey Citizens University thing over there.
Oh, it's where the child, where they used to have the big bear.
And the big mural on the wall.
Or you can use the community room. There's nothing there, you just use the community room.
So,
But do you see it just kind of blinks? It
yeah,
just,
they snip it, they kill. Is this live when we do the report, when we're doing it? Is it live online at the time? Okay.
Do we have to,
so then it just goes to a blank screen on it.
So keep in mind, this is probably edited after
It
it's
is.
live streamed and
Yeah.
it's like our Zooms.
Right.
So,
so we would have to, over there at the library, we would have to physically get up and move to a different room
We could talk to Swagger about that. If you didn't have anybody in there, you could just stay.
So you said any liability of inadvertently.
Turn off the camera,
recording
mute microphone.
executive session, yeah. I might say it's still up there, I mean.
Well, you're
There's
paying
that
for a
answer
city
there.
staff, so city staff can turn it off,
Okay.
right? Isn't that their goal to be there? Yeah. So that's,
So-
that's essentially what you're.
so those were and then I did change back the salary. So if you all will take a look, it was added to that the professional services and to
How much
the
did you-
I added 6,000 to professional services, legal and professional, and I added $2,400 to admin fee, which,
I got a new number today at 4740, so you might change that to 5,000 instead
oh,
of 6.
instead of 6, okay.
In which one? This one?
I'm sorry, which one?
The one with professional services for Swagger instead of 6. I got a new number today at 4740.
So change it to 5.
You have 4 on there.
Well, that was the increase amount from the original proposal.
Oh,
So
okay.
I need to
I
fix
gotcha.
that. Well, depending on what y'all decide. So if let's say now it's 5,000 for the professional services fee. That's the chamber's computer. And it's 2,400 for an admin.
So $7,500 a year.
I have that.
That's a lot.
Yeah. That quality. Quality
And that's an annual cost, no,
and.
Well, yeah, for now, I'm sure it'll go up, but.
It goes up from 29 to 31,000 in a second.
So.
but that's for the whole city or that insurance, so a small portion. is-
Yeah,
So we'll get
250.
So it's prorated.
250 or whatever.
We just divided by 12.
Not nothing.
Oh, well, I
We
mean,
just took the
but-
numbers. The city's paying all the cost of the cameras and all the equipment and
Yes,
the initial cost, and then some of the cost annually. And then there's a cost associated with producing the meeting. So what we did is we just took that divided by 75, because we did 75 meetings. And we divided by 75 to come up with a number, and then we just added back to 12. Multiplied by 12.
So, yeah.
But our plan is for everybody. Parks.
yeah, it's
PTC,
uniform.
BOA, everybody will meet there, because there won't be a council chamber.
It'll be a uniform for all the different committees.
Now, a lot of cities they don't produce their own boards, but council wants everybody to have the opportunity.
Fully appreciate it.
So,
I think Salina only does.
mm,
Do I have a motion to approve the updated budget with the following changes?
so
Or,
the
I mean,
change to
changes.
professional and legal would be 35,000 instead of 36.
Right.
Which would mean it's still a decrease going down from 40,000 budgeted for this year. It's still a decrease of 5,000. And then the 15,000 admin fee goes up to 2,400, which is 17,400.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve. Budget with the changes that. Christine just stated.
Have a second?
I second.
All right, I have a motion by Aaron, and a second by Tim. All those in favor? Right, all those opposed? Motion passes. 6-1. Christine, will you tell us about your staff report?
Did Tim? second
Aaron?
that? Aaron, okay,
It is.
All right.
Aaron's motion is seconded.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so. Staff report. I'm gonna, y'all have the staff report. I've added a social media report metrics in your packet today. I was waiting to get through some of, each week I get them like on a Tuesday. So the statistics, so wanted to get those in. And we have, if you'll notice on the social media, we did see a little uptick in June on our homepage click, which is good. That's indicative of people going to our homepage from.
Oh, future, when you do this, could you
I
change
need-
the bullet points to different shapes?
What?
Well, so you got the bullet points for the data points?
Oh, well, they're actually, I should have given you a color.
Or just make one of this and one.
I'll give you a color copy next time. But last 30 days is what's on here, and you'll see there was an uptick on the homepage because it says homepage down here. I'm able to, we don't have the Cadillac package where I can go into all the stats deeply and find out a ton of stuff, but we do have a nice free package on our WordPress site that our webmaster shared with me. So that kind of helps us measure, you know, when people are looking and what page you're looking at. So homepage is the biggest page right now. I emailed Neon, y'all the updated information on the Neon Cloud video. I will meet with them on a call this Thursday with the project manager. They give us project manager. I'll start planning with them and setting a filming date. The lease for the property at Highway 377 was drafted by Alicia and I reviewed it, asked Holly to review it. It's a basic commercial, standard commercial lease, and we will send it to the, I'm sending it to the company representative, see if they have any questions. See if they come back with any of that, because they currently, as you know, did not have a lease. So that's good. Gonna get that going.
Is that gonna be on the July agenda?
If they approve it.
Yeah, if they don't have any questions, if it's final, I'll send it to y'all so you can see it. I'm just waiting to see if they have any questions first. Rent stayed the same. We got our first rent check, so that's good. I've started working on dates and plans for the business education event that was known as the 12 to 12 luncheon. Been working with the chamber exec, and we're planning to meet again in late June with some other folks that do some small business entrepreneur education and development for different agencies that also happen to live here in Aubrey, so it's good. We're gonna talk about some speakers. We'll have a time frame of like 4 to 7. It's gonna, right now, we're looking at Wednesday, August 28th in the new community center. If it's finished, if not, we will have a backup plan. Hopefully we will get to be in the community center. It's big enough. I think we can have a few tables there with some of these representatives there for information, but we'll also have little segments with speakers. So it kind of attracts people at different times. And we'll be canvassing the area starting in July. We'll start putting invitations out and save the dates. So that's in the works. And then broker luncheon and tour, been talking to some brokers, find out what a good time would be for that. They believe that September is a good month, mid to late September, not a lot of activity and shows that they would be going to. So working on a location for that and final date. So I'll be getting back to you on that, but it would target brokers in the area and DFW, our local brokers and realtors as well. So we have, I've been meeting with some brokers lately and recently about some projects that are yet to come, but will be coming soon. Also brokers here in downtown and what they're working on in terms of tenants. There is some movement in the corner building at 216. Hopefully we'll have an announcement on that soon. We are working on continuing to let businesses know if they come. I've had a couple of them come here interested in businesses, buildings across the street. And so I'm staying in touch with them, talk with them about their plan, what they're wanting to do. So they have looked at a couple of buildings, so hopefully people will get some plans together. We might hear something back on that. I have heard from an applicant for a tip grant out on Highway 377. Once I get that application in, I'll update you all and bring it back for review. I'm gonna meet with them this week to look at the project and what they want to do. And I've met with some new businesses that have opened and they're on your report. I do have a business packet. I'm still gonna deliver it to them, but we've put in just information. This has some information on the tip grant, just where they can find it. And then information map on the planned developments and our demographics and such on this record. So it's a business packet that I give them.
What is Raleigh Alley and Scratch?
Well, Scratch Pad, it's down here in that music, used to be the music building.
I just looked up
Yeah,
the address.
it's like a pet supply and she also does cat adoption. So if you need a cat, she could probably help you.
You would, yeah, it'd be good for.
And then Rally Alley is actually Lone Star
CH Lone Star.
CH.
It's the one right across from Brockett.
Oh, I know.
I
in the
think
old Betty's.
I've been over there. Well, to the new place.
the new place, yeah. Yeah.
Where's the new place? Cause they used to be in
Yeah,
behind a house.
So they still are, but this is like a storefront essentially, but they
Okay.
aren't open. I don't know if it's just advertising. Are they gonna be open?
they got their CM.
Did they
So
open?
I've gotta go, they're selling out of the storefront. but,
Okay, that's
I'm
perfect.
But
gonna-
they're
Yeah,
printing
they're still
still-
producing,
Yes.
yes, yeah. But this is more of like a selling all the
Okay.
logo,
I'm glad to hear.
logo
what?
items.
Yeah, right across from Brockett, right next to Brochures.
Okay, oh, okay.
Free market.
We will have some more information on other businesses opening soon as they get their COs. I get the information, but that Mexican restaurant still going through some of their approvals. And then, met with the Catered Roots. They're in that old food experience building. They are great. They have a food truck and for their catering business. And they really are experienced in the catering business, do a lot of business up here. That's why they chose that location. But they also still have a place in Dallas, another kitchen down
They have
there.
a nice website.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, they're from South Texas and so moved up here and they've got a really good concept.
So-
So
Question on that location, and this might be for Charles as much as you, but the previous owners of that location, they got a variance for landscaping.
Mhm.
Does that variance, is that conveyed to the new owners or the new business? And
no.
because they might need a grant.
I did tell them about the tip grant, but I don't know that landscaping was. They had just moved in.
You know what
and
I'm
they
talking
were-
about, and then it's.
That would be, we'd have to ask the planner.
Yeah,
Okay. Cool.
but I did let them know we have those grants if they had anything they'd wanna, the building was still pretty well intact, it seemed, from previous tenants, so.
It's a good building.
They had, yeah, so everything, they had put in some flooring that was more cushioned and stuff, so it was nice. So that's my staff report. I also have some goals for y'all that I've made based on feedback from some of the work sessions we've had and also some of the,
Yeah.
some of the discussion in meetings and what's important to y'all. Did I not? I thought I made stuff. Oh, wait, you can have my copy, but.
Yeah.
With you.
Okay, there we go.
Made its way around.
Thank
So So basically I took what you all had talked about back in like December, January, February, and even some in March when we had talked, before the strategic plan, this great catalyst group came. And so put it all down on paper, including, some training goals for myself and what we have, but I think what is gonna help the Aubrey program. So and I've done some of these trainings. There is a training that I'll be applying for through TEDC, which is Certified Texas Economic Developer, and I already have had 2 of their courses that they require, so that's one of those that I'll start working on. And just continuing to train for, train as a board and also as an individual on the state statute and EDC laws and MGD laws, and when we have those sales tax workshops, so. Building on broker work relationships and developer relationships, one of those things I'll be joining with was budgeted, is that North Texas Commercial Association of Realtors, which also has a lot of area brokers attending and also has good information on commercial trends. I plan on continuing to attend ICSC. They have luncheons during the year, or seminars, half-day webinars seminars during the year for marketing trends in the market and what we're seeing for development on commercial. And I am just working on those goals that, as far as managing the resources, providing community enhancements that we've talked about, that you all have been talking about wanting to do. Again, starting to work on some of those project plans so that we can, I can come back to you all with some proposals, and that will hopefully also be something when we have that subcommittee for construction and building. That'll help a lot with some of those enhancements.
So a couple things, you noted in the draft report about Placer I and Zac-Tax. And I see it here in your goals as well.
Yes,
When can we expect a presentation from you based on what you're saying?
I can pull a report from Zac-Tax. I do have some
I mean, you have
reports I
to,
can give
you have to
y'all.
anonymize that, I know.
Yes, and I can have some of that next month. It'll show y'all kind of our breakdown of our sales tax and some trends. I did check with them on some stuff I could give y'all.
Placer AI information. My question on that is, I want to talk with the company, because that's like statistical data that you have to digest. Like somebody that you hire that does that that's a lot of information to digest for, like, I don't know. I tried to understand it all.
Yeah.
Have you tried to go through it?
I haven't seen it.
Some of what I've
Yeah.
used in Placer was used for updating this, to get our trade area, to get, so I can pull some Placer reports that are pretty basic and simple that aren't gonna be.
Yeah.
There's so much you can do in Placer. It really is a large platform that
So
some
what
of it
we're
we're
sending.
just,
Yeah.
we wouldn't, our actually strategic plan consultants would use some of that, which I have given them some of those void analysis and some other reports to use when they're doing our strategic plan. So, but I had set a trade area 3 to 7 miles out, so I can, next month I can print off that map to show y'all what our trade area is. I gave in the last meeting, I had given y'all some
You set the
statistics.
trade area, or Placer AI said this is your trade area?
I worked with them on placing it based on our ETJ and where we see traffic come in. So basically,
It's their traffic data or your?
it's their traffic data. Yeah, I don't. So it comes with Placer. So, but I used it to compare our traffic counts when we went to ICSC. I compared it to our police department's traffic counts. I made sure that what we're pulling here locally is comparing, what census is comparing, and it really is. So it's just, as I said to someone, it's kind of like a tank when you just drive a car. So there's a lot of buttons pressed, but it is a good source. It is a very large platform. We do have a lot of consultants out there that can take some of that data and work with entities like us that can really help make recommendations and hone in. And these brokers also use their own and they've got Placer or they're using sources like Placer. So sometimes they tell me they, have an idea of a tenant and I'll look it up, compare and see.
Yeah, there's some that a lot of different communities are using, and they use this at Placer AI, but they work, for the money that we're spending, they would do a lot
They
more.
provide the service.
And provide the service and pull, and so we're gonna look into that and get those people and maybe change that out, instead of doing Placer AI, but have somebody that uses service that actually can digest the information and bring us useful information instead of just paying the money for information, just the
I hear you.
information.
This is like the second, third, fourth time we've talked about it in the last.
I just found out this person's information, I didn't know anything about this.
There was a presenter.
Yeah.
At TML that we had actually
Yes, about the
met
retail
him.
coach or something like that, yeah.
Yep, and so
So
he's a
they,
great person, and that's why I think we should have done that to begin with. I think that we kind of jumped the gun on it, but we'll get to that.
the information I had pulled, I had it in the last meeting, y'all kind of passed it around. It's our demographics of our population and stats and everything. So that's a whole long spreadsheet, or you can get it in spreadsheet form, but I put it in a PDF form for like age, median income, that kind of stuff. And again, that's what I used for preparing information for ICSC. But when we're talking about retailers and some of that, what I'm finding is these brokers, they've got just as much information, if not more. So
I have some other comments. I might be better served for executive session.
Okay. Anybody else have anything?
And I have some additional comments about our staff report outside of this.
Okay. Go ahead. Does anybody else have anything? Okay. Go ahead.
So any update on items that were not on the agenda for this month that we?
oh, yes, thank you. The marketing and the sign policies.
Mhm.
We are, Alicia and I talked about it, and we're looking into some sign policy guidelines that we think will fit what we're wanting to do for the signs. So she and I talked about, it, and we want to have one more time to go over that and really look at what signs, the sign needs. And then also the marketing policy, again, just looking at where are we now, where are we going to be going with marketing? And I think right now we're good, but we will bring that back.
Yeah, because we also had a meeting with Leanne, and she kind of gave us a timeline, what we were wanting for the sign policy for, and so that timeline is a little further out, so we have.
Yeah, it
some
wasn't as
leeway to
urgent.
not just
Yeah, it wasn't as
put
urgent
something
to time.
Right.
So thank you for bringing that up, because then. Oh, and Charles has a report he'd like to get. On accomplishments, 1 year.
Are you done?
Yes, I'm done.
Jesse, are you done?
Yeah, everything else I have is executive session. It's not the sort of thing that
Okay.
we should be saying in open session.
Okay,
So I feel like my voice is going.
What'd you do?
I was fine this morning as the day has worn on. It has got worse and worse. Before this meeting, I went over and got some cough drops, hoping it would help. It's just tanking my blood sugar.
That's me.
Oh, no.
So, what I wanted to do as part of the staff report tonight is kind of look back over the last year. Christine's been with us for a year now, and I wanted to look at some of the accomplishments that we have for the board and Christine. One of them was just recently, the updated target improvement grant and policy and application. It was changed to more clear and concise language to give more information to possible applicants. I think it was a really good accomplishment, and it was an addition to the grant that was already in place and the information that was there. I read it again today, and I think it provides a lot of information. I think we may have missed out on somebody coming here because there was uncertainty about the grant, and I think that with the changes that the board has made, I think that uncertainty will kind of dissipate now, and people will understand better. People smaller businesses who don't know about grants and exactly what to put in. I think it'll be very helpful for future. Christine has developed a number of connections that I'm aware of. 3 major developers that she's working with right now. I don't want to go into any more greater detail than that, but these developers that she's talking with and working with on a regular basis, they are going to be, they're going to have a big handle on the future of what's coming to Aubrey. And she has their ear at this point. I thought it was very impressive that one of those, a very large one, invited her to be in their booth at ICSC instead of us having to pay for a booth through the city or through MDD. She was able to get that invitation and she was there with them for 2 days. I think Mike was there for part of the
And
time
you
as
got
well.
to know him as well, right? Yeah, that's awesome.
So I think it's a really good thing for us that's occurring. Christine initiated a Zach tax audit that identified businesses who were not paying sales tax to the MDD. Those have been updated and the back receipts are now starting to flow in. I think it's 3 years, right? They'll go back.
Yes.
They go back 3 years and they will pull back that tax and they'll send it to the MDD. Did you find any that were in the city limits? Or were they all?
I believe most of them were in our ETJ.
Okay, I thought so.
Did you find any that were the other way that were paying to other entities?
That's what we found.
No,
The-
that they
That
paid
paid to
us.
us, but
It
we-
shouldn't
Oh,
go-
no.
Zach tax, if you pay Zach tax, they only look the other way. It's a one-way gambit.
Okay.
They don't do 2 ways. Somebody else will have to pay Zach tax to do that. Christine worked, I was really impressed with Leanne and Christine. They worked together to create, publish, review, award, and facilitate the comprehensive and strategic plan RFPs. She's in a key role right now in making sure that information is provided and the meetings are held. And she and Leanne are working hand in hand to get that done for us, and I really appreciate that. She just told you she's going to enter the Certified Texas Economic Developer Program. And 2 prerequisite classes have already been taken. One of those is the basic economic development course. And I wanted to kind of highlight this for you. This course includes introduction to economic development, community development, to analyze and profile a community, business finance, real estate development and reuse, marketing, business attraction, business retention, BRE. Workforce development, strategic planning, entrepreneurship, small business development, retail and economic development, ethics and economic development, managing economic development organizations and economic development trends. This is the basic, and she's going to enter the certificate program. So I think this is great for the MDD and for the future. What I would like to ask the board to consider is it would be a budget item. After the budget starts, it would have to be a budget amendment, but I would like for Christine to consider attending Certified Public Managers School. It's a program that's put on by Texas State University, and it provides the person who attends a certificate level. I've been to CPM. I'm certified. The police chief and Leanne are going at this time. Leanne has told me that she thought it would be good for Christine. It is a complete overview of municipal operations, from economic development, finance, administration, water and sewer, all of those things that are in part of a municipal organization. And I think that she would be able to utilize that information to assist with MDD projects in the future. When you're talking about infrastructure, I don't know how much experience Christine has in infrastructure, but that is a possibility for MDD to help with infrastructure. And if you're going to a class where you're learning about water and sewer, that's a good thing. So it's something that you can consider later. It is not an inexpensive course. It takes a year. You're out for the year. You're out a day and a half per month. 1 month, it's 7 tracks. 1 month is the first month, like track 1, the first month would be January. You go to Arlington for a day and a half. But the second month in February for track 1, it's online. So you would actually be in the office and have the ability to work. Leanne has stopped coming into the office on those days though, because she says that she cheats and she ends up working and doesn't get her stuff.
Right.
It's a really good program. Like I say, I would love to go again. I went in 2015 or 16, and a lot has changed since then. I learned a lot there, especially about finance that I didn't know. It was a very interesting class. Let's see where I'm. Christine worked to secure the purchase of the park store on US 377. This is the first purchase by the MDD of an existing business that will have economic impact on the future. This is not an individual accomplishment, however. The board is owed an extreme amount of recognition as well for noticing and seeing that there is a future there for that piece of property. I think that it'll be pivotal. I know the park store's not gonna leave soon, and you can have some profit coming in from that right now, or some revenue, I don't know if it's profit. But revenue coming in, and I think that once 377 is done, that will be a really good spot for the MDD to be able to do something. Christine regularly attends chamber. At first I thought that was, I'm on the chamber board, and I thought, why don't we have these luncheons? And now I know.
Yeah.
Christine can hardly get out of the room with the business people that are talking to her. Mine, Aaron, Holly, and Tim have all been. It really opens your eyes. And the number of people that are there, I think our last luncheon was probably 60 or 70 people. There are so many businesses there that you don't even know about.
Yeah.
You end up sitting with somebody each time that's different. And you end up learning about a new business that's either in Aubrey, or they want to come to Aubrey, or they think they're in Aubrey and they're really not.
Yeah.
That's the big one. So we have a lot of businesses, and the board members that are coming in and Christine are making these connections, and it's really helping. And we've got a lot of information from it, and they give us information as well about what's going on in our community that we don't know about. It's a great thing. Like I said, at first I thought, why am I coming to this lunch at the same time? And now I know. I mean, I try to do like Christine. I try to make the room, And I would ask if we can swing it. If the entire board can come in September, I'll just go ahead and do this now. It was later in my presentation or my notes. Christine did a presentation for the inaugural Aubrey Citizens Academy, or Citizens University, sorry, it was Academy, it's University now, the ACU. She did an evening and she spoke for, I think, 30 minutes.
She put the slides in our, she did add the
It
slides
was
to her.
fantastic.
I stuck to my 15, but we had questions.
There was questions, exactly. It was a fantastic presentation. I did not know what to expect. I didn't know what Christine was gonna talk about. I didn't micromanage that. I just said, hey, can you do a section on that? It was fantastic, and I know it was fantastic because of the level of questions that she had, and she was done. People had a lot of questions, and so I reached out to the bank. Christine doesn't know this. I reached out to Shannon Black, and I've asked her to invite Christine to do the presentation at one of the business breakfasts for Point Bank, because I think, especially now that the grant has gone up to 30,000, that information needs to get out there. That's a perfect spot to do that. It's not as big as the chamber events, but it is a really good time to meet some other businesses that don't come to the chamber.
You do have different people.
You sure do. So she didn't know that. I've asked Shannon to invite her, but also I've already signed Christine up for the September chamber luncheon for presentation at the chamber. That will be the September meeting, and it will be at the new community center.
Nice.
So it'll be an opportunity for the
Perfect.
board to see the new community center in action and to see Christine do this presentation that I thought was fantastic. So
Cool, thank you.
if get with Holly, if all of you can come.
Yeah.
Because if we get to 4, we need to post a forum
Okay.
or a possible forum.
Yeah.
It's okay if you end up there, as long as you don't conduct business, but if we know in advance that, 4 or more of you are coming, we probably need to post a forum. But I would love it if everybody could go.
Which date is that?
It'll be the 3rd Wednesday in September.
So that'll be the 18th.
Yeah, it's the 3rd Wednesday of every month. And anytime the board can go.
Finish.
It is at
It's 11:30.
11:30.
And do we know that?
And we have, the city has two lunch tickets every month, and the MDD has 2 because you're a diamond member, so that comes with your membership. We just prepay ours. So we have 4, and we can prepay extras anytime anybody from the board wants to go.
To what?
To the chamber
To
lunch.
the chamber lunch. So if you just let us know in advance, a few days,
Oh, yeah.
and let us know Christine can sign you up and
Yeah.
get your lunch.
If you want to come and we have more than our 2 comp tickets, I'll pay for your ticket.
Yeah, we'll sign you up.
Just let me know so I can pay them.
But I think that is a great tool, it kind of rolls into the partnership with the chamber, that because of that diamond membership, the MDD is partnering on the C3 meetings. These were a little more intimate in the way they do it. It's Coffee Connect and Cultivate. They usually have a keynote speaker. It's only for an hour on a Thursday morning from 8 to 9. Christine didn't make the last one, and I didn't either. I forgot about it.
I didn't
Did you go?
either.
You didn't go?
I was out of
I
town.
did too.
It was last week.
It was a C3 last Thursday.
You
Yes,
didn't.
how many people were there?
Yeah, I was there.
How many people were there?
It was a very low turnout, probably 9.
Okay, but see,
Summer.
it's small and it's here, right?
Yes,
So we.
but
No.
I did, the lady gave the presentation we published to the magazine that we put the ad in.
Was it here or was it Point Bank?
It was at Point Bank here in Austin.
Okay,
That's where we were talking because we got confused on that.
Right, yeah, it was at the Point.
Okay.
there wasn't a location. I thought it was here.
Yes. Well, I won't get into the.
I was,
Formatting. I did come here on the one before that.
Yeah.
And here also.
The first one was here.
oh yeah, that one's.
When I caught it.
Yeah.
The message would be, but by and large, it was a good meeting, and I met a couple of people there that, I felt valuable. At first, it was like, well, okay, it's 9 people, but actually it didn't turn out to be too bad.
Cool,
That's
thank
not
you.
really-
Thank you
Well,
for
I
being
think
here.
it's a testament to the board and Christine making these connections.
Yeah.
It's very important, this participation in what we're doing and what you're trying to accomplish. Meeting these business people is awesome, and these are the best ways to do it. And I like the fact that it is a chamber, combination with the MDD, because it is prominently displayed that MDD
Mhm.
is co-sponsoring. So anytime you go to the chamber luncheon, it's great. Other things on the board, Mike and Holly attended TML last fall. It was a great experience for us. I thought it was fantastic. I encourage all of you to go this year.
I learned the most there.
It's in Houston.
Some of us have previously been, and some of us have made more of a mission to be in our offices. Because we are entrepreneurs, we are getting to see a lot and go, so we kind of made it a mission to go to, city council meetings and PNC meetings, things like that.
Thank
So
you.
everybody has different things that they're able to do.
For sure,
Agreed.
for sure.
But if you can go this year, it's in Houston. It should be a great event. There's something new every year that they have, that they pass along new information to you. I think we had a fantastic time. I had never been before. I learned quite a few things. I take that back. I had gone the year before. And that's when I learned about the annexation. So that was not my first time. I went through it. That annexation piece was very important, because some attorneys didn't even know about that.
Yeah.
So that was great. So I encourage all of you to go if you can next year. Texas Small Town, in May, Mark, Holly and Mike and Christine attended that. I didn't hear anything back from that. Did y'all enjoy?
It was okay.
It was okay.
I say half of it was relevant, the other half was not.
Well, sometimes that's what happens.
That's
Small
Yeah.
town.
I bet TML's gonna be the same way for you, because
Yeah.
we're gonna spend a bunch of time talking about major metropolitans.
TML was not, the TML was way better for me. I got so much more out of TML than I got out of
It was nice
October.
to go, cause some of the
Yeah.
stuff was really good, but yeah, like, a lot of it was geared more towards city management and stuff where.
It is TML.
Yeah.
Well, and they're doing it for hours, like, the people that are there are they're getting their hours out of going to that, so
Yes.
you have to think about that as
And there
well.
was no split off groups or anything, but it was just one main.
Yeah.
Oh, well, TML's better at that.
Exactly.
Well, the small towns like,
Yeah,
they don't have any breakouts.
But to say that if you went to one and got to experience it, sure, yeah, it was good from that aspect, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sales tax workshop, Holly, Mike, and Christine attended sales tax workshop. That was fantastic.
Mhm.
I just wanted to highlight some of these things that have happened this year. You should all be proud of the accomplishments that you've had. Christine and the board have worked together to push forward on economic development. I think it's a bright future. And, Aubrey's gonna grow very quickly. I think a lot of things are about to occur on the commercial scene that we can't talk about right now, that I think there's a slow burn that's happening, and it's going to explode all at once. And it'll be quick, and we have to be ready for, what's going to happen as far as relationships are concerned. And that's why I appreciate Christine having all of these contacts that she has with the developers, and I think that's going to help us in the future, because they are listening. I think last week she was with a group, and they want to know, what do we want in Aubrey? And I think our comp plan is going to help with that to some degree. What are we going to want? And I hope, they will listen and help us the best they can. There's some things we can't do. I hear a lot of times, why don't we have an Olive Garden? Well, Christine is not in the restaurant business, so she can't open an Olive Garden. But,
And it takes a lot of house talks.
and it takes a lot of time to get there, so. That's all I had. I just wanted to talk about some accomplishments and say I appreciate the board and all of your efforts. You're all volunteers, and we appreciate you volunteering your time to be here. I look forward to working with you in the new council chamber. I think it's going to be fantastic. I think that Christine's going to have more ability to run her meeting because she'll have a staffer there that can do all of the work off to the side. That was really the points of that. You don't have to worry about what's on the screen. You've got somebody that's going to take care of that. You've got Swag It that is going to produce your meeting for you, and then you have a staffer that's going to turn the microphones off and on. So I think it'd be
We
great.
used to have that until we got moved over here. We had a staffer that actually ran, and then got moved here. And didn't have that meeting.
And then we'll get it back.
Yeah, well, that was part of the same administrative fee we've been paying
That is correct.
all these years.
Well,
That's all I have.
there we got one. Cool, awesome. And future agenda requests. I say the mural is gonna be put back on. They're gonna bring back a proposal for us,
Yeah.
correct? Jesse asked for Placer AI, a brief overview of Placer AI, is that guys? And
Yeah, I can get some of those.
we'll get
and
together.
I
about
might-
the retail page.
Yeah.
So you're
I did see
marketing
him.
sign policy.
The marketing side, we can, we'll, when we bring that back up, it won't be on this month.
But it's agenda. Oh,
No.
Well, can we put that as a future agenda request, and if you have
Sure.
something that.
Future.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
keep
if-
it on
If we
there.
don't have it, just say, hey, listen, I don't
Yeah.
have anything this month, we're working on it, don't
We can do
skip it.
that. Okay,
I've got it on there, so I'll put that in sign policy. And I will.
And marketing social media was also requested last month, and I didn't really get to that, and
what are you wanting to see on
that
our?
wasn't my request.
Well, and I'm asking you to give me more detail about what you're wanting.
Well, what I'm saying is, if we request a future agenda,
Uh-huh.
and we put, that as a future agenda, I just wanted to address. So well, that wasn't my request, I didn't make
Right,
that last
I
month.
had mentioned
I
it.
thought you said that was my
Yes.
request.
No, that was not
Yeah.
my.
No, and,
Gotcha.
okay, and I
gotcha.
had it in my list, I skipped over it on my,
I think
sorry,
it was
yeah.
actually From my suggestion as well, from the Aubrey Sports Magazine stuff.
Mhm.
Put it back in.
Okay,
Right,
that
it
makes
was
sense.
so that we could have a
That was mine.
plan.
Because it was magazine.
Yeah,
and
the idea of it
Social media. was what
is
we
to
got.
like go into each budget year knowing what we want to sponsor, what applies, what makes sense, that's, meets our
So
state
hard to-
statute and all those things we are able to spend our money on. So
So.
that's really what that was for. And then the sign policy, we'll come back to that if we get more information, in that. If not, it'll be on a future, maybe August, Zach Tax Placer AI reports. I can get those. And then, what you said, if I get something from, what is her name? Retail coach.
Yeah.
If I can get some, I saw them last week and I mentioned that I needed some information. So let me reach back out to him.
Does anybody else have anything?
I'm just curious, I know normally in the city council meetings, there's always every year something for a review. Where you'll go into executive session, you'll discuss as city council, kind of the whoever the employee is, you discuss their goals and objectives. Last month, we had talked about Christine's review, we all put in comments, or at least some of us did. I don't know if you
Everybody
did.
did,
But there's nothing on here to discuss this.
because the bylaw states that it's just president and.
We've got 86% of this board that has less than a year and a half. of service. I'm not saying that they don't know anything. I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah.
They're all extremely talented, have a lot of knowledge, know what the hell they're doing. My issue is the fact that it's a year and a half. And some of us have a lengthier time period, and it would have been good for us, at least for the first review of our third executive director. That we have a discussion about it. That's all I'm saying, especially when the city council has done as well.
But they're different, yeah, they're different type of Robert's rules, cause the mayor does, yeah.
I understand that. I'm putting my opinion
Yeah, I
out
get it.
there. That's what we had discussed in the last meeting.
Yeah.
And again, we go back to the fact that there's not a lot of experience for city volunteers on this board right now.
I'd say, for me, I'd rather know what y'all think. Because it helps me understand how you're approaching the situation. And I'd rather be able to, talk to you and say, hey, here's what I'm seeing, here's how I'm seeing this. And I think it makes for better work as a board. So, because it's not the sort of thing we really can talk about except during executive. We're not allowed to talk about it outside of that, right? Or you get, you could start worrying about getting to a walking quorum.
Yeah.
You can't have
And-
Christine in executive.
I'm sorry?
You can't have Christine in executive session.
And do a review.
Yeah, correct.
All right, well, we can set goals and,
Specific to that one,
topic,
right?
The review.
Well, could she be gone and everybody else just talking? amongst
because,
themselves?
like I see stuff
I
in,
mean, is that kind of?
I mean, honestly, in her goals and objectives, like, I think there's
Can we do
stuff
that?
missing in there.
Yeah.
And I don't really want
I
to
know,
say
That's
that.
a
Cause I didn't,
Such, I will, but I don't think that's
cause I
the
didn't,
sort of thing I would like to say in open session.
cause everybody put their feedback on their document, and I did not choose to put it on, cause on the executive session.
Could we put it in an executive session in the future?
If,
You can't have Christine in executive session.
I do understand that.
But if,
That's
no, but I mean,
something
the-
discussion. They want to have.
like an employee review without the employee, can we do that in executive session if it's put? as a-
Alicia can talk to you about it, but I don't think you can talk about an employee in executive session.
Oh.
That's not your employee.
Alicia, are you hearing the questions?
Where can?
I am. So you are allowed to have personnel discussions in executive session. So you could have a conversation regarding goals and objectives. You could have theoretically a review discussion. However, the way that your agreement and your bylaws is set up is that your responses would go to council, which is what's being done through what you've already put together. So today, as the executive session is written, you're not able to go in and talk about anything personnel related in executive session tonight. If you did want to have some of those conversation with Christine, you would need to have it as a goals and objectives type discussion.
Okay, so I don't see a goal on here, and I don't see where.
In executive session or open meeting, Alicia?
So tonight, well,
we're-
tonight you wouldn't be able to do either. It's not on your agenda at all tonight to have any personnel discussion.
for future agenda items is
For
where we're at.
future, you could do, it depends on how you wanted to set that up. If you wanted to talk about personnel in executive session, we could set that up and have the language on there to allow you to give direction and the goals and the objectives of the board in executive session. We could do that under personnel.
I'm a little confused then, because we just went through. She brought goals and objectives and what she felt her goals were and that she was meeting them. And we just had a presentation from the city manager saying all these great things about her. So we're talking about goals and objectives right now. Or we
So
have,
you had a staff report,
yep,
but you can't go through, you don't have anything on your agenda tonight to set goals and objectives. You received a staff report. You as a board can't take any action on anything tonight. It's not listed. So one of the things that the Open Meetings Act doesn't restrict honoring or recognizing or superlatives for employees. So Charles was able to give you that information of what's been accomplished because that's not limited by the Open Meetings Act as long as her position doesn't change as a result. So you can be presented with that information. You just can't take any action unless it's listed to change her role or anything regarding or anything of that type of action item. That would have to come back at a future meeting.
So could we put a discussion of the goals and objectives for executive session in the future? No,
In the future.
in the future, we could do it that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So can we make that a request for?
That's how I was waiting for that request.
I don't understand why questions can't be, general questions we have. Only presented.
Well, because it's part of Robert's Rules of Order, it has to be on your agenda.
Oh, you're not allowed to give feedback.
First of 1600s.
Yeah.
Well, it more importantly, it's the Open Meetings Act, because if you violate
Yeah, sorry.
criminal penalties for violating the Open Meetings Act.
Thank you.
Do we have to make a motion for that?
No.
Well, we requested it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
It's just, again, on the future agenda.
Okay,
In executive
It's on the
session.
30th.
In executive.
I got it. Okay.
What'd you say, Aaron?
But it would be goals and objectives and not a performance evaluation.
That should
Because
be-
where did you get, I mean, I don't recall
We
taking,
talked about that in March. We talked about some goals and objectives, so I made
These were
notes
our
while y'all were
workshops.
talking. And some of the workshops y'all did, work sessions you did in January, February. I've been making notes this entire time, so I just took those notes of what we actually did decide and what was mentioned, and I just based some goals and objectives off that, plus some other
Perfect.
things that I felt, I know you all
It
would
was,
like to see
it's
done.
partially on me because I asked Christine for some goals and objectives on a personal level. It really has nothing to do with the board. I just
Mm-hmm.
asked her for some personal goals of where she wanted to be this year. Because when I do a performance evaluation, I consider those goals and objectives as part of that performance evaluation.
Along with
So
what
if the
we,
board has different goals and objectives, then certainly they need to communicate those with Christine. But these are goals and objectives that Christine and I looked at for her on a personal level, not on a board level, on a personal level. Because I expect directors to have goals and objectives of their own
Mhm.
that are apart from what the board may. They are individuals who have been hired to do a specific executive level job, and they need to be able to set goals and objectives on their own.
I would agree.
right. Right. Any other future agenda requests?
We need to do anything with the construction committee, sorry. No,
You're fine.
for the construction subcommittee, do we need to do anything for that?
Yeah, we can.
I mean, if y'all have met before that next meeting, we can have a report. an
I just
update.
didn't know.
Yeah, I'll put
Yeah.
Maybe do it line item.
giving us an opportunity if there are.
Yeah.
an update.
Yeah. And I'll reach out to y'all on.
Necessarily.
I just
If
didn't
y'all
know.
don't have anything, you don't have anything.
Just to be on there as a placeholder, we can kick the can down the road. so to speak, if we need to.
Exactly. No, thank you for that. Anything else? What were you saying, Susan?
mowing of the lot that adjacent between city property and salt property.
Okay,
I have reached out to Parks and Rec already about that lot and got a quote on the costs. I just need to remind them to mow that one section. So I'll get with Jeremy on that.
Is
I
that
figured
something we
with
got a
all
budget
this
for next
rain-
year?
I'm sorry.
Is that something we got a budget for next year?
Yes, I have it in the budget
She
already
did, I
for
did.
under maintenance. So, cause I got that quote, I just need to remind them, we need to start mowing it now because of all this rain, I'm sure.
sounds good. Mhm, good point.
Is that also
Probably getting
mowing the other
control.
facility, the other building, or do they mow that?
They're mowing
They
it.
mow that?
Yeah.
Mhm. And they didn't wanna change that up.
Good.
So we just said, go right ahead.
I mean, if I'm them, I wouldn't want somebody else doing it. I would want to control it.
Yeah, I understand that. They have their blackberries and their garlic that they're harvesting back there, so they don't want anybody touching them. Anything else? All right, awesome. Do I have at this time, we're gonna go into executive session. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make a motion that we close open session and go into executive session at 7:25 PM.
Hold on.
Before you do that, I actually need you, Holly, to read the executive session sections.
Yeah, sorry.
I'll amend my motion when you're done.
Yeah, sorry about that. In accordance with the Texas Government Code, section 551.001, the Aubrey Municipal Development District will recess into executive session to discuss the following: section 551.071 consultate, and then in section 551.072 and section 551.087.
I'd like to amend my motion that we close open session and move into executive session at 7:6 p.m.
Sorry about that. Here. I have a motion by Jesse and a second by Aaron. All those in favor? Motion passes 7-0. We're reconvening into open session. Do I have
I don't have anything to add to future agenda based on executive session. Vicky, do you want to do it? Here.
you want to hear it? Tell me, give me a motion.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn at 8:13.
I have a motion by Vicky. Do I have a second?
Here.
Second by Jesse.
You have a motion. The motion is here.
All those in favor? Meeting adjourned.
Did
Vicky made the
we
motion.
reconvene into open?
Yeah, see, yeah, at 8:13.
We did both at the same time.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.